What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Juju, aka Straw Hat Goofy, and we are here with a new episode of Get Wrecked with Straw Hat Goofy. And it's been a minute, I'll admit, it's been a minute since we posted another episode, but some big things have been in the works, and I will get to that in a second. Got some really big news. But before we get into all of that, I just wanted to let you guys know that Halloween is in a couple of days as of this recording, and I know you guys got your costumes ready. I know that you got your scary movie marathons ready, and I figured, why not make this episode one of the biggest episodes we could possibly do in the name of spooky goofy season, right? So as you guys know, Blumhouse is the mecca when it comes to the horror film franchise game. They've done things like The Purge. They've done things like Freaky. They've done things like Wolfman, Invisible Man, like you name it. Invisible Man and Wolfman are hopefully going to be a part of the same universe, but we'll get to that soon as well. But we have 3 back-to-back interviews from some of the creators of some of these things, so I'm really excited about that. And so before we jump into that, though, I just wanted to say thank you, because the reason why it's been taking us a minute to kind of get to this point, get to this new episode, is because we just got signed. We just became a client of the Creative Artists Agency. Now, for those who don't know what CAA is, they are pretty much the mecca for talent agencies in the entertainment industry. We're talking actors, we're talking musicians, we're talking podcasters, and now your boy Straw Hat Goofy and Get Wrecked with Straw Hat Goofy is officially a client, which means people believe in us. People believe in us. They think we can make this podcast into something big. And the reason for that is because of your interactions with it. Is because you guys love the podcast. You support it. You share it. You guys talk about it. You guys repost it. Everything that you guys have been doing has been a massive, massive help. Despite the fact that we over here, by we, I mean just me and 2 of my friends, Justin and Craig, who are doing this solo dolo, we've been kind of flying by the seat of our pants and figuring out this show the way as we go, right? We started this podcast back on my birthday, January 27th this year, and we've only been doing this for a couple months, just a couple months. The year's not even out yet, and the flood of support, the guests that we've been able to get has been absolutely insane. We've gotten Daniel Kaluuya, we've gotten Halle Berry, we've gotten Jacob Bertrand, Cleo Thomas. We're getting Kimberly J. Brown, who played Marnie in the Halloween Town franchise, next next episode. So stay tuned for that. The support and the guests that we've been getting have been absolutely insane. And a lot of times you feel that you are punching above your weight class. The imposter syndrome tends to set in. But then when you get that validation, getting that CAA signing and being a part of that world and knowing that great things are on the horizon, you just have to take a step back and realize that you guys are the reason why we're here. It's your support. It's your love for the content. It's your love for the people behind the content that makes it what it is. And we are going to continue to create the best content we could possibly do for you guys. We are now in the big league, so we have to act like we're in the big leagues, which means bigger and better guests, more consistent video postings on YouTube, and more podcast postings wherever you watch it, Spotify, Apple, wherever you want to watch this podcast or listen to this podcast. So we're really excited for everything that's about to come. I'm really happy. It feels like a lot of things have happened to get us to this point, and I just want to take this further and farther than it can ever go before. So again, thank you guys so much to our listeners. Thank you so much for the ones who watch it on YouTube. Make sure you keep supporting us on TikTok, X, Spotify, everywhere you kind of consume this podcast at, because to be honest, I really want this to kind of be the main thing that I do, because I love it so much. This is the baby. This is mine. This is it. You know what I'm saying? I'm really, really excited. Now, it is time for us to jump into the 3 interviews, and I'm not gonna lie, some of the audio, I couldn't find the audio SD card. So a lot of it, there's one interview that sounds crisp. There's another interview that sounds like we're in a hotel room. But I think that adds to the ambiance of it. I think it sounds cooler. That's just me. Okay. So I don't want nobody saying oh yeah, your audio, what happened? Leave it be. But you guys enjoy the interviews, and we will see you on the next episode. I'm really excited about this, and have a great day. Happy spooky goofy season, everybody.
Wake up, Juju. Time to go to work.
All right, can we talk about
Wake up, I get it, I get it. 1, 2, 3, hey. Wake up, I get it, I get it, I go. With everyone saying I'm up next. It's not my fault that the vocals are gold. I'm making the haters so upset. My life is a movie, the way that I roll. They saying I'm goofy, but baby, you know I'm making everybody obsessed. Cause we the best, how we get wrecked, and I know we gonna get wrecked. 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 We gonna get wrecked.
I'm sitting here with Leigh Whannell, director of the new horror film, The Wolfman. Dude, I'm so excited for this movie.
Thank you. It's good to see you again.
It's good to see you again, man. Last time we saw each other, we were in New Zealand.
Yeah, we were in Wellington, New Zealand, just outside Wellington.
And we got to see like a lot of cool stuff from the set. Got to like see some scenes, got to see some prosthetics. It was a lot. And you know, obviously I've kept it hush until now because the trailer.
It was good. You guys were there on a good day.
Oh yeah, no, I felt it. I felt the magic in the air while we were there. But talk to us a little bit about The Wolfman, because I'm a big fan of your other films, The Invisible Man, Upgrade. And what I love what you do is that you're able to ground these kind of supernatural things almost in real world kind of like themes. So talk to us a little bit more about the theme of Wolfman and kind of like your take on this one.
It was exactly the approach you're describing. It was thinking like, oh, how do I make this grounded? How do I make this feel contemporary? You know, I didn't want to set the film back in the 1800s or do anything like that. I didn't want to do anything gothic. I wanted to make it very relevant, like this could be happening now. Yeah, that was my approach on Invisible Man, and I wanted to continue that. So you could say Wolfman is a spiritual cousin to Invisible Man, tonally. And I loved just leaning all in on the body horror of it all. Yeah. So, yeah, that was basically it. That's what got me involved with it, was this idea of, can I take this old character and kind of contemporize it? Right.
So the first trailer came out, I think I want to say like a month, 2 months ago. And what I loved about that trailer, and this kind of like was in line with how you described the movie the first time around, is that this is a story about someone going through a sickness and how that sickness changes people. Yep. And what do you do when you're that someone, seeing the person change in front of your eyes? Yeah. And the trailer had this really great motif where the Wolfman title was peeking through the screen itself. Not just like a transformation like a wolf would, but almost like a cancer, like a tumor that was spreading. Can you talk to me like about kind of like taking that route and kind of like what drew you to going in at that one?
Well, it's letting the angle find you. You know, I never try to force anything on a movie. Right. Like if I'm thinking about a movie and I'm about to write it, I like spending a lot of time just carrying a notepad around. Yeah. And I like the notepad much better than I like typing the actual screenplay. Yeah, yeah. It's everything before the writing that I love most. And I'm letting these ideas float up, and something just struck me about the idea of someone who was losing their cognition. Yeah. And I have witnessed friends of mine go through this, you know, where someone in their family, their spouse or their mother or their father is going through a protracted degenerative illness, like Alzheimer's, whether it's Alzheimer's or Parkinson's disease. You know, this stuff is, we all hear about it, and you just hope that, you know, no one you love is going to be affected by it. Right. But somebody's number comes up, and it's horrific, right? Yes, that's real life horror. And so that was really it. That was the seed of me thinking, like, you know, if I could tell this story about what it's like to lose somebody that you know so well. Yeah. All of a sudden, the person standing right in front of you isn't not who they were. Person. Yeah. Yeah. Maybe they don't even remember who you are.
Right. And like, there's always hope that it's them inside, and you want to try and get through to them. And that's why a lot of people kind of, you know, stay and want to take care of them, because they said, this person, I know who they were, but on the outside, and, you know, for all intents and purposes, they're not there. And so 100%. To take this into the horror spectrum and make it something a little bit more dangerous, a little bit more horrifying. And I also understand that this is a single setting movie for the most part.
I mean, for the most part,
it takes place over the course of a night, right?
It all takes place in one night. I thought that was a different approach for a Wolfman movie. Yes. You know, I wanted it to feel relentless, like, you know, this is all real time. Yes. But also I'm trying to condense, you know, when these people we're talking about who are suffering these illnesses, it takes years sometimes, right? I'm trying to condense all that into one night. So there's a few different balls to juggle, you know. I'm trying to make sure people have a fun night out at the movies. They get scared. That's my job, to scare them. But I also want to have this emotional side of the story. Doing both at the same time is kind of a difficult juggling act. But I think that taking real life horrors like domestic abuse or a terminal illness, right? Yes. Taking that stuff out of real life and then literalizing a monster around it, or a horror movie, you know? I think that's one of the best things horror movies can do, is speak metaphorically about things that really affect us in
Right.
real life.
Right.
We deal with
Absolutely.
stuff this way. You know,
Yes.
horror fans, it's cathartic, right? Mm-hmm. I'm trying to think of a movie that really...
Hereditary is like a really great one at
Hereditary's-
that, like mental illness.
Mental illness.
Smile. I saw Smile 2 very recently, and a lot of that has to do with like depression and kind of, you
Yep.
know, the metaphor of smiling through everything, and then it eventually
Yep.
kind of like leads to, you know, taking one's life, and then that affects the people
Yep.
that comes around. It follows. It's more sexual, like transmitted diseases.
Right, exactly.
But it follows
it's
as
the
another
same thing,
example.
and
It's
it
the
goes
same
all
thing.
the way back
Exactly.
to like, you know, if you go back to Invasion of the Body Snatchers, that's about whatever the Red Scare, McCarthyism, and then you have Dawn of the Dead. People talked about that being about consumerism,
a lot of and class and things of
and
that
class,
sort.
exactly.
Yes.
I mean, it's you know, I've even heard people say that films like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre is dealing with the horror of the Vietnam War,
Really?
things like that. You know, so
Okay.
I guess you can pick your own metaphor and it can mean to you what you want it to mean. but
Right.
I think horror movies are so great for that. For allowing us to talk about something without directly talking about it.
Exactly.
You know what I
See,
mean?
I love
You
this.
Do
Yeah.
both.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to do.
I love that. And very last question. Wrap it up.
Okay.
Okay, very last question. I know a lot of people, like, you know, you did Invisible Man and now you're doing Wolfman, and they both have, like you said, similar tones because they're talking about those real world things. A lot of people are hoping that this is part of some shared universe. Do you have any final thoughts on that? Like, I know it's not official for that, but they tried to do a shared universe, but a lot of people are seeing this as one, like,
Is seeing
incoming.
Wolfman and Invisible
Wolfman
Man.
and
You know
Invisible
what's
Man,
interesting?
yeah.
It is. They both start out in San Francisco.
Oh.
And it's the city. And I was thinking, like, should I have... Like, at one stage I said, should we have a news report in the background talking about Adrian Griffin? You know,
It's
and
a
I was
small
like,
little
let's
thing.
just a little hint, you know, just a little breadcrumb. So, you know, I'm going to do that thing, you know, songwriters do this. And I think, you know, people find it frustrating when songwriters say this, but I'm going to let people make up their own minds.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say yes or no. It's a no confirm, no deny situation.
You
I'm
will not
sorry.
confirm or deny.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say
Then
yes.
you are correct. It's all subjective and no one can tell you you're wrong.
Absolutely.
He knows what he's doing.
Well, thank you so much.
Thanks. Good to see you again.
Good to see you too, man.
Yeah,
And,
the next time we'll be on a glacier in Reykjavik or
hopefully,
whatever.
hopefully next time we'll be like at the premiere for this movie.
Exactly.
All right.
Hope to see you there.
We hope to see you too, man.
Thank you,
Thank you
mate.
so
Cheers.
much. All right. Guys, I have another exciting interview for you guys today. I'm sitting here with the mastermind of Blumhouse, Jason Blum. How are you doing, man?
Very well. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's a pleasure
Thank
to be
you for
with
having
you.
me on.
Oh, absolutely. I like how you said that. like you said that like I'm doing you a favor. You're doing me a big favor by being here right
you're
now.
doing me a big favor.
You're giving me all the clout right now. So I really want to talk to you about like quite a few things because like people have fallen in love with the movies that you've produced, overseen, and just like been a part of. Like we can go down the list, but I'm just really excited to talk to you about Blumfest. Because Blumfest is like kind of like this celebration of Blumhouse, celebration of horror, thrillers, and anything of the like. And I just want you to just talk to me a little bit about that. What was the thought behind Blumhouse?
Well, our 15-year anniversary is coming up, and we a couple years ago we decided we've been around long enough, and we've been, you know, there's a generation of the younger people who are actually not as young anymore, who kind of grown up on our Purge, Insidious, Sinister, Paranormal Activity, like the first generation of our movies, and it occurred to us like, wow, we've been doing this a long time. We should have a little festival that celebrates the history of the company, which is new for us because, you know, 5 years ago we haven't been around so long, so we kind of got to that tipping point, and I think a lot of it is geared up towards this 15-year anniversary, which is coming up, and so we decided it was time to celebrate ourselves, and so that's what we're doing.
I mean, it's good to pat yourself on the back every now and then, right?
We decided time to give ourselves a pat on the back. That's exactly right.
So I need to know because, you know, I recently went to both Universal Parks and I saw Orlando's Blumhouse, and I'm really impressed with what they're doing with Hollywood right now.
Nice.
That
Amazing.
section, have you been able to like check that out?
Yeah.
I gotta know,
Incredible.
man, what is your favorite part of?
I
like,
think the tram.
The
I
tram?
love
The
the
tram.
tram. The tram is sick.
I was gonna
the tram
say
is
that.
amazing.
Yeah.
And the purge water, the purge in the where the stadium is. I think it's pretty amazing too. Those are my two favorites.
Yeah, I was gonna say the tram too as well.
The tram is amazing.
When that moment when you get off the tram and all the characters come out,
So cool.
including Megan, and she says, "This is where you run." That part, like I have a video of me going, "What?" It was so incredible, man.
That's
Like,
great.
so like I just got like of all the movies that you have been a part of in Blumhouse, like you already named like quite a few yourself. Like I love things like Freaky, I love things like Happy Death Day. I love these things, but like, what is your absolute favorite that you've worked on? I'll tell you mine, and then you can tell me yours.
My favorite, I don't really have a favorite movie. It's like your favorite child, but one of the best experiences I had was the first Purge movie. We had done Paranormal Activity, we had done Insidious, and everyone said like, you don't have any special formula, like you just got lucky twice in a row. And by the time we got to the Purge, people were like, wait, you guys
they got something here.
You have a different approach to movie making.
Right.
And so that was really fun. That was definitely a big tipping point for the company.
Yeah.
And I think another tipping point really for the company is next year we have almost twice as many movies coming out as we've ever had before. So we merged with Atomic Monster, as you know,
James
about 16 months ago with James Wan. And it's taken a while for that merger to bear fruit, to be what I envisioned it would be.
Right.
And next year is the first year that we have that. So we have Wolfman at the top of the year.
I'm talking to Leigh Whannell later, and I'm super excited about that.
Got Woman in the Yard. We've got Drop.
Yes.
We've got Megan 2. We've got Black Phone 2. We've got Five Nights at Freddy's. And Atomic Monster has Mortal Kombat 2. They have Conjuring 4. And they have this indie movie called Monkey, which is super cool.
Okay.
And then the 10th movie is a movie we did actually with Apple called The Lost Bus, a bigger movie with Paul Greengrass. But they're 10 theatrical movies, which is a big, which is, I'll tell you, it's very hard to do.
Yeah, I bet.
Well, actually, it's easy to do 10 theatrical movies.
Okay.
It's hard to do 10 good theatrical
That's
movies.
that's like a good clarifier.
And I can't promise they're all good because they're not all finished, but the ones I've seen are great.
Okay.
And hopefully we'll have it'll be our biggest year and it'll be an exciting year. But we're just ramping up for that right now.
That's great. Shout out to Louis Tan, man. Yes.
Shout out to who?
Shout out to Louis Tan, Mortal Kombat, man.
Yes,
he plays
for
Cole.
sure.
He's a good friend of the show.
Oh, really? Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Had him on here. He was talking about his excitement for the sequel
great.
as well.
Oh, terrific.
Now that you're talking about it, I'm excited.
All right, good.
But back to like talking about like some of my favorite Blumhouse, like Black Phone was probably not only one of the biggest surprises of the year it came out, but it's my favorite Blumhouse movie. Like the Grabber is such a great character. Ethan Hawke just kills that character, man. Good. And then Mason Thames is like a revelation in that movie, right? Super happy he's getting the chance in How to Train Your Dragon, the live action as well.
Sure.
So a lot of great things, a lot of great actors, and just like franchises coming out of this.
Yeah.
And so I just need to know exactly where it all started for you. Like, what was that movie that kind of changed your brain chemistry that put you on the path to creating Blumhouse?
Well, the truth is, Paranormal Activity was that movie.
Paranormal Activity. Oh my God!
That was our first movie.
Yeah.
I didn't think I was going to have a horror movie company. We were doing. I made the Tooth Fairy with The Rock. We were doing all different kinds of movies, and Paranormal Activity was just one of like a varied slate. And the movie had such a profound effect on me and on the company. And the movie was so, not all of it, but a lot of parts of putting the movie together were really fun.
Yeah.
And I really found my niche, which is I really wanted to make independent movies and I wanted them to be distributed by studios. That's what I wanted. And the only genre that you can make independent films and have studio distribution is horror
footage.
No, horror, really horror, all of horror. And so Paranormal Activity really showed me that. And, I never looked back after that. I never made another Tooth Fairy ever again.
I want to put that like on your like when your life is said and done. I want that to be the last thing that's said in the documentary, and I never went back to Tooth Fairy again. So like I just want to also say that Paranormal Activity was like a defining moment in my high school career for me.
Very cool.
Because I remember when that movie came out and it was sweeping over the nation. Like all my friends were talking about it. Everyone was making plans on like when to go see it. And I remember very specifically, I made plans with my best friend at the time to see it. We was going in this really big group, and she wouldn't give me a ride. Like she filled up her car without getting me. So I got left behind. So I had to see the movie by myself.
Oh no!
I had to see the movie alone.
In the theater, though?
In the theater.
Wow.
And so, like, I'm surrounded by these people, but like, I don't want to like grab a stranger's arm.
Right.
When like things start to go down. So I'm kind of like retreating in my seat, watching this thing.
Sorry.
I come back to school the next day, and I'm just looking at all my friends like, screw all you guys. You made me go through that
Were
alone.
you scared for a long time?
Dude, my house had like creaky floorboards.
Right. Oh,
And I also lived right across. I grew up in Compton, and I lived
Right.
right across the street from a cemetery.
Oh.
So with all these
God.
already in mind, they just compounded that.
Right.
Hearing the sounds at night, and our movie room was like in the cut of the house.
Oh,
so if I wanted to go back to my
God.
bedroom, I had to walk through the dark to my bedroom, and I was just like, that movie messed me up
I'm sorry.
for a while.
I apologize.
No,
I'm sorry.
thank you. I'm gonna say thank you because I still go back to that movie. It is such a great example of not only
That's
like
funny.
horror, found footage, and like that kind of like reignited the found footage boom of that
Yeah.
time as well.
Yeah.
What was that like seeing like all these movies copying the found footage? Like, I mean, obviously we had Blair Witch before that.
Yeah, sure.
But it felt like right after Paranormal Activity, everyone was trying to do found
There
footage.
were so many found footage.
Yeah, what were your thoughts?
I think that's one of the faults that one of the problems with Hollywood is that it's one of the big problems with streaming stuff is the algorithm. Movies are made based on past movies' performance.
Yes.
It's one of the reasons I really think it's an unhealthy way to choose what you're making next. Because the audience doesn't know what if you used an algorithm, Paranormal Activity would never in a million years get made. You know, it would never happen. It would never get made. It would never get distributed. So I think one of the faults that Hollywood had even before algorithms, which is when Paranormal Activity came out, is like when something's successful, you know, studios and companies look to repeat that success. And I've tried to really be very conscious of not trying to look back and repeat our movies. You know, when we made The Purge, it's like, well, let's make these movies like The Purge. It's like, well, we already made The Purge. You know what I mean? Let's make something else.
You want to stretch yourself.
So I try really hard not to do it. It's a lot easier to do that when your movies are lower budgeted, like our movies.
Absolutely,
so we can take more creative risks because we don't spend so much money. But when you're spending a lot of money, you kind of
you gotta pick those risks a little bit.
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure. Like, well, this movie did well, and it's kind of like this one, so let's do that. You know?
I totally get that.
That's why that happened.
Yeah, so I really want to get into your relationship with James Wan, who's a titan in the horror game, obviously.
Sure.
Where did that relationship start? Where did you meet him? And like talk a little bit about how that relationship.
Yeah, well, it started because after we did Paranormal, I said let's make more low budget horror movies, and I was in the Die Hard building at Fox. I had a tiny little closet office at that building, and James and Lee came to see me, and they pitched me Insidious.
Wow.
You know, and James said to me, you know, I made Saw, and he had made 2 movies after that that were okay but hadn't done that well. But he's like, I just don't want to be known as like the gory horror guy.
Right.
It's not my thing.
Yeah.
Like I'll make Insidious. I'll make it for $1 million. It's going to be great. It's got to be PG-13. And I said, let's do it. You know, and I had said I had a little pot of money I got to make low budget horror movies off the success of Paranormal Activity, and we gave him $1 million. And he made Insidious, and the rest is history. I mean, it's funny, you know, the first Insidious movie, even when it was finished, like Paranormal, no one believed in it. The studio didn't believe in it. No one thought it would work.
Yeah.
And we're on our 5th movie now, 6th movie now.
Yeah.
So that's how I met James.
Yeah.
And you know, James is really an artist.
Yes.
He's 95% artist, 5 to 10% business maybe. And I would say I'm more, you know, 75-25, you know, 80-20. 80% business, 20% artist.
It's a good combination.
It's a great partnership, and it's worked really well. And like I said, next year you'll see the fruits of our labor.
I love that. I love that so much. Now, I met James at the Night's Film premiere.
Oh, cool!
And
I was there.
Oh, you were there?
Yeah, in LA.
See, look at that. Yeah, we're there. It was like it had that cool like pool
downtown.
Yeah, it was like right in front of that cool pool, red lighting. It was like really dope. And that man is like, you wouldn't think he was such a horror nut as much as he is, because he has such a light and infectious personality.
I know. He's so kind.
He's so
a very
kind.
kind guy.
And then he makes something where people get horribly like.
But that's true of all horror. Well, horror fanatics, we're very kind.
Every single time.
The dark folks are the comedians. They're the ones who are dark.
One of my good buddies, David Dismouchin, is exactly like that.
There you go.
You know,
Yeah,
super kind guy, but
when your business is comedy, your own life is horror.
Exactly. Exactly. All right, last question that I want to talk to you about is that a lot of people, and this like kind of like shocked me to find out, like you guys have your hands in a lot of different movies that some people wouldn't expect, like Get Out.
Yeah.
Right? And when I found out, that was Blumhouse too. What? That's one of the greatest modern horror classics ever, right? It changed the game. It added the word "the sunken place" to our collective language, right? Talk to me about when that movie came out, the making of it, and the reception of it after, because that had to have been
For
something.
sure. Well, that was one of the highlights of my career, you know, from beginning to end. I read the script. No one wanted to make the movie. Jordan had the script for 2 or 3 years before it finally came to us.
Right.
You know, it was budgeted, I think, more, and then it was $7 million. I said, how about 4.5? At that point, he was like, I'll take anything to make the movie. You know? And we had an amazing meeting where he, you know, pitched his vision. I never imagined the movie would have the impact on culture that it had. Should have won the Academy Award. It didn't. But as an Academy member, I apologize.
I will accept that apology.
Really should have won Best Picture. Real.
Best screenplay is not bad.
Real oversight, but Best Screenplay is not bad.
Yeah.
And the movie, you know, we had our first screening of the movie at Sundance, and from then on, it was a year from January to the following Oscars. And it was one of the great rides of my life.
Yeah, and like to speak a little bit more just about how culturally significant it is. You said this a little bit already. It was released a year before the Oscars, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, like it was released a couple months before the Oscars of that year. And then and then it stayed in people's collective memory long enough to still get some of the big kind of like nominations.
It actually opened the weekend of the prior year's Oscars.
That's insane.
The opening of it was literally the same weekend of the prior year's
and
Oscars.
that is insane. Seeing how it's like a lot of movie studios like to like release their films closer to the Oscar buzz because they don't want to lose out on that memory.
Yeah.
But this movie came out so far in advance, and then to get to the Oscars, and then you see it get nominated, you're just like, yes, like it deserves this, right?
It really did.
And you know, you have so many good movies that come out during a year that like can't break that ceiling of, as great as it is. It doesn't like nobody like tends to think about it during that time, but that had to have been really cool that like people were still talking about the movie, still enjoying the movie.
It was amazing.
Insane.
And it was really fun to work with Jordan. You know, he's one of the great filmmakers of our time, and it was I felt very lucky to get to work with him for that couple of years. It was an incredible experience for me.
Yeah, I've been lucky enough to meet him a couple times as well. Man, he's along with now they're over at Monkey Paw doing like amazing things.
Totally.
Wynn Roosevelt's a really great guy as well. Like all those people, man. Like I just love creatives creating what they want and what they like, and like sharing it with everybody. Because like you said, audiences don't know what they want until they get it.
Exactly.
And we've got
I don't know what I want until I get it.
Exactly.
I see things on TV all the time that I think I'm not going to like this. Someone tells me to see it, and I love it.
And then you're into it. So I'm gonna tell you one thing then before we get out of here. Last thing I'm gonna say, because I know we gotta go. Have you ever heard of One Piece?
No.
One Piece. It's literally, I will tell you this right now, one of the greatest stories ever told.
What is that?
So it's an anime about pirates.
Wow.
Just to give you a quick byline, there's this guy named the King of the Pirates. He gets executed. Right before he gets executed, he tells the whole world that his treasure is in one piece. Go find it, and he sets off this great pirate era.
Wow, I'm gonna see it.
It's great, man.
And where is it on?
You can watch it like on Netflix right now. You can watch it on Netflix. One Piece. They have a live action.
How many parts is it?
So it's a long running series.
Okay,
it's been going on for 25 years.
Oh my god!
Like one continuous story.
Do I have to watch the 25 years?
I would suggest.
Where do I start?
I got you covered. I will get you started on the live action that just premiered in November last year.
Okay, great.
They're in the first season. That's a great gateway into the story.
It's Japanese?
It's a Japanese anime.
In Japanese?
However, it's in English. The live action is in English.
I'm going to see it
It's incredible. Jamie Foxx is a huge fan of it. You'd be surprised how many people are into it. I call it
immediately.
You did. I call it the greatest story ever told.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Can't wait to see it.
Yes, so just start with the gateway. I'm not going to start you off with the big stuff.
I'm going to get into it. I need a recommendation.
Exactly. So I wanted to give you that. I appreciate it. And that's what Get Wrecked with Stry and Goofy is all about. Giving recommendations, talking about movies.
I love it. Exactly.
All right.
Well, thank you.
Jason, thank you so much for talking to me, man.
Thank
this
you.
has been
It was
incredible.
a pleasure.
Yeah, I'm sitting here with Christopher Landon and Megan Fahy from the new movie Drop, which I'm really excited about because it's a thriller. I hesitate saying horror because I think of you and I think of horror, Christopher. Because
I think of me.
Not because of the face, but because of
Sometimes
the reason.
Sometimes it's the face. If you told me earlier this morning, you might agree.
No, I'm seeing you right now, and I'm like, hey, pretty good.
Okay.
Am I flirting? This isn't flirting.
Oh,
This is just no, but
Off to the races, I like
off
it.
to the races. I like making it as like casual as
Yeah,
possible
of
because
course.
like we love talking about movies here, and I'm really excited for this film Drop. I just saw the trailer, which I feel like it hasn't been released to the public yet, so I feel like I was looking at something very secretive, and it was, dude, honestly, like it took me back to some of my horrible first dates that I've ever had. And I was like, I've never had it to the point where somebody might die, but I felt like I might
Thank
die
God.
socially. Yeah, right? But socially, I was like, oh my God, I'm
No,
gonna die
for sure.
from this date. But can you tell me a little bit like about this film? Can you two just kind of like go into it? Because it's been a mystery in the press for a long time.
Yeah. I mean, that's how we wanted to keep it for as long as we could. I mean, you want like a little plot?
Give me like a little
You
plot.
want a little like,
Give me a little,
okay. So Drop is about a single mom who is played by Megan Fahy. A single mom who she's going on a date. She hasn't been on a date in a while. She's meeting this guy at this very fancy upscale high-rise restaurant in Chicago, and she starts to get what is the equivalent of an airdrop. In our movie, we call them digidrop. But she's getting these airdrops from somebody in the room, and they're memes.
Apple, we're doing all right. Okay.
Yeah.
Apple's giving us the nod like yes.
Totally. But she starts getting these memes, and they're kind of weird, but playful. But they start to turn dark
Very quickly.
pretty quickly, and she and her date are like making a bit of a game of it. Like they're looking around, like who's sending these? This is kind of fun. Who could it be? So there's a little fun mystery baked into it until she gets a message that says check your security cameras, and that's when she realizes that there is a armed man in her house holding her son and her sister hostage, and she has to murder her date to save their lives.
Oh my God. I really hope like whatever dates I've been on, that wasn't what was happening, you know? Like, I've escaped a lot of dates in that way. When you think
But I
about
think
it.
that's the relatable part of the movie, is that
Right.
at least we've all felt trapped.
Yeah, yeah,
Our date,
a little bit.
This is the extreme version of that.
A little bit.
Yeah.
So I love this premise, Megan. Like, the thing that I love about this is that you're in a movie directed by Chris where it's the next in a line of like great female protagonists. We saw Freaky, we saw Happy Death Day, and now you're kind of the new iteration of that in this film.
Yeah.
Were you thinking about that? Was that like a factor in you choosing to take on this role?
100%. I mean, I was such a fan of Chris's before working with him, so that was like immediately very exciting. He's just so good at creating this really fine balance of like something that feels really elevated in its genre, but also grounded in like the small moments of comedy that he allows to like live in the space, which I feel like is so true to life. And I, you know, we talked pretty early on about it, and Chris said something that I really took to heart before we started shooting, which was that like in the film, Violet is the hero, and she, you know, it's not a story about a damsel in distress. It's the opposite.
Yeah.
So, and I just thought, wow, how cool is that? So yeah, it was immediately something that I wanted everything to do with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a fascination with films that are, for the most part, primarily set in kind of one location, and it seems like this film is kind of set in just two locations: the home where things are kind of going down with the intruder, and the restaurant. Can you two talk to me a little bit about the challenges and what's exciting about creating this type of film, where you have such a limited amount of space to kind of like make this terror kind of like escalate?
Yeah, I mean, I'm like you. I love a single location movie because I think that it sort of forces you to be really creative. I think both narratively and then also just in terms of how you execute the film. And we were really lucky because we got to like build this big ass restaurant.
It looks good.
It's
The restaurant
so
looks
beautiful.
amazing. Wow.
Yeah.
It is gorgeous. And like I think being able to sort of step into that environment but also have so much control over the environment was so key. But yeah, I mean, I think there's something just really fun and claustrophobic about being stuck in one place.
Yeah. And not to continue to brag on you, but like I just can't
But
help
brag
it.
on, please.
I think that something that's really special about the way that the film is that yes, you are. It's like, how do you make two people sitting at a table on a date and one girl's like constantly looking at her phone interesting?
Yeah.
And he does, and he knew how to in so many ways. And it feels like a pulsing, thrilling, you know, fast-paced experience, which is a challenge that, you know, he was super suited to, you know.
Yeah.
Super,
Well, now I
super
get to
important.
brag.
Let's get a brag fest going.
Here's the
Yes.
truth, 'cause
So you can brag about me after.
Yeah, you're nice.
I could throw a lot of shit at the technical side of things, but if you don't have the performance,
Yes.
if you don't have
Yes.
that, you don't have anything at all.
Yeah. You gotta lock into the performance.
And the
That's
reason
what kinda
why
curious.
the movie works as well as it does is because of her, and
Mm-hmm.
because you are so with her the
Mm-hmm.
entire time, and this performance, it's mind-blowing,
Mm-hmm.
it's incredible, and she has to do so much.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, she has to pretend like she is still on a date
Mm-hmm.
while she is also trying to solve a mystery, protect her son, stop, this plan from unfolding. Like,
Right.
there's so many layers and levels to it, and she's doing it all. She's doing it all with her face and her whole energy.
Right.
So it's why people watch the movie and they get so invested. The restaurant's very pretty and the camera tricks are great, but like it's her.
I mean, it gives a sense of like no breaks, right? Especially from your perspective, because I'm assuming on camera for 99% of the movie, carrying that performance, carrying the story along. And again, like you said, it locks the audience in. Without a great performance, then that's what kind of like keeps everybody invested.
Yeah.
So.
And the other fun thing about the movie too is that like it's one of those movies that's pretty much told in real time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like 24.
You don't break. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Like you don't really break away. There's
like
no big
speed
time
or
jump.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
It feels
you're
like
there,
that.
and I know that
I love these
urgency
references.
is
Which I
like
love.
Yeah, I love these references. The one thing that I thought about, and this is where like my movie guy brain comes in. I call myself a professional overthinker.
There's more of us.
There's more of us, right? Wow, we're bonding now. But I thought about the movie Phone Booth. Right, you remember that movie
Totally.
with Colin Farrell, and
Yeah.
that was probably the first movie that I saw where I realized you can have kind of like this singular located like story that's like this ever escalating like series of events where the character can't move and there's danger happening on the outside, and all the decisions made in this moment is what creates this kind of like, I like to call it a living, breathing, like what's the word I'm looking for? I use this to describe Uncut Gems all the time. Heart attack. It's like you're just experiencing a heart attack. Living, breathing, high blood pressure is what I like to call it. And so like watching this and the way it unfolds, like the trailer was just amazing. Was there any other kind of like references that you use, like movie-wise, when you were making this film that you talked about and said, because you mentioned speed, like you mentioned other things, like are there any other like movie references?
Did you have any? We didn't talk about other movies. That's what. Here's the funny thing about me. Like at least when I sort of start something, I don't go back and watch a bunch of similar movies.
Right.
Because I actually think it
You
sort
don't
of
wanna have that in your
clouds.
head.
It's in my head. So I stay away from it. But
So the opposite of Quentin Tarantino.
yes. But I will say that one movie that came to mind many times in my brain, though I did not go back and watch it, was Red Eye.
Oh, okay, wow.
And I'm a huge Wes Craven fan.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was something that like was very much top of mind. And then I'm also a giant Hitchcock fan. And so those were two directors that I was thinking about a lot. And then also Brian De Palma.
Yes. I remember you said something that this was kind of like a kind of homage.
Yeah, it definitely in some ways is. And so there's a little bit of De Palma and sort of the DNA of the movie. But yeah, I think, but we also wanted it to be its own thing.
Yeah, I feel like you do a great job of just playing. You mentioned this already, Megan. Is just playing within the genre and elevating the genre of which you're in. I can point to Freaky as like one of my favorite examples of that. I talked to Catherine like a couple months ago. And I'm just like, you were so good in Freaky.
She's
amazing.
She's so good.
I went to Universal Horror Nights very recently, and they had when I saw the Freaky representation there, I was kind of like, this is it.
Cool.
So yeah, I love how you play with these genres, elevate them, and just kind of like make it your own thing. And I'm just happy to see you both just kind of like crushing it right now. Now,
That's so sweet.
of course, like seriously, like I'm such a huge fan of like not just horror, but just of you too, and just everything that you do.
Back at you.
Oh, well, thank you. Like, yeah, you didn't have to say that. It was the first time
That's
meeting.
true, though.
I appreciate it. Now, before we get out of here, like, we're in a hotel room. We're kind of in a can't leave situation right now, but I'm gonna let you go after. After that, right? This is where things get like wicked. Check your phones right now. I'm just But I just want to ask, like, what was a bad date that you have been on? If you want to get into that. I'm seeing a lot of flashbacks from Chris right now.
I am really going through it right now.
I had one time I accidentally went on a date.
How do you do that accidentally?
Like I met someone.
Oh, you didn't know you were on a date?
No, I
Was it one
met
of those?
someone and you know, we were like, oh, let's. It felt very friendly to me, and it was like, oh, we should hang out. It's like, oh my god, for sure.
Oh, okay.
Like, yeah, let's get a drink or something, and we like meet up for a beer, and then like I mentioned my boyfriend,
Oh no.
and this person,
That's the
I just
worst.
literally
Saw
saw
their
the colors pouring from this man's face.
And you're like, why
And
is
in
that
that
happening
moment, I
right
was
now?
like,
Oh, we thought we were on a
I
date.
didn't know I was on it.
I'm not gonna lie to you right now. I've been on the other side of that, where I
Oh,
asked someone out and they didn't know that it was a date. So, moral of the story: make sure it's a date
Be
before you go.
specific.
Be very specific,
Be very
because it could just be
Yeah.
a friendly hangout,
It's
and
true.
you wouldn't know, or at least one person wouldn't know.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Chris, you said
Oh boy. I went on a date with somebody, and there was a lot of hype to the date because we had met at a dog park before,
those are always the best
Hype.
ones.
and
Yeah.
and it was
I
like,
know
at
too.
the dog
Like you
park.
gotta go to a
Sure.
date. You gotta go on a date.
Yeah.
and I was
Yeah.
like, this
Yeah.
seems like the perfect person, and then I got to the restaurant, and this person was on something.
Oh.
No, and not even like, oh, maybe not. It was so evident,
Oh.
and I didn't know what to do. And then I finally, and things were going south, and things
Yeah.
were getting really strange. And so I found the waiter. It was actually a waitress, and I was like, I gotta get the fuck. And so like she ran my card, and I bailed. Like I went out a back door.
You gotta get
Sometimes
out
you
there.
gotta.
Like it was
So, yeah.
the only
Sometimes
way
it has to
out.
be like
Sometimes
that.
you gotta be like that.
Because I
I've
could
had
sense
my shit.
danger,
Yeah.
and I wanted out.
See, I'm
So-
expecting this to be in drop 2.
Yeah,
That's the sequel.
Wait, we have to know what yours is.
Oh,
Or one
oh
of
my
yours.
gosh. Oh, where do I start? Where do I start? I hate to like really bite off of yours, but I showed up to a date where someone was kind of on something as well.
Oh, no.
And this was kind of like a date where, you know, we've talked about going on a date for a while.
Yeah.
She's kind of like, this is maybe her 5th time hitting me up saying like, when are we going out?
Oh.
And I said, you know what? I'm making a time, I'm clearing my schedule.
Right.
I will pick you up at 8, get there at 8. And then she gets in my car and immediately she gives me the chatter teeth.
Oh,
You know, the
yeah,
eyes are very
yeah,
shifty.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I just went, are you okay? And she just kind of goes, yeah, why? And,
Oh,
and that's when
no.
I knew, I said, okay.
You just gotta like not get fucked up.
Yeah.
That's like
Date.
such
Yeah.
good dating advice.
It's
simple,
yeah,
guys.
it's
I mean,
very
look right at
simple.
camera and
Very
say, like,
simple.
don't get fucked up.
Don't get
Yeah.
fucked up before a first date.
I was on a date with someone, they got so hammered, so drunk,
Mm.
that they couldn't walk
Really?
at the end of the dinner, and then I had to take them home,
Mm.
put them in bed, I had to walk their dog.
Wait a minute.
Their
Wait a
dog
minute.
had to go to the bathroom, and they were unconscious.
What's the thing with dogs here?
And so like I walked this person's dog and
That's
like
really
picked up its poop
that's
and did
very
all the
kind.
things.
That is
Thank
honestly,
you
that's
for
the
that.
extra mile.
A lot
It
of
was
people
for the
would not
dog.
have
A lot
done
of
that.
people, as
I
soon
know.
as
That's
soon
an
as they
animal
hit
lover
the
right
bed
there.
and you're
Yeah.
out the door,
Yeah.
he said, you know what, that dog is so cute. It's time to walk the
It
dog.
was. I was like,
Wow.
this dog needs to poop.
Honestly, if that was me and you walked my dog, I'd be like, so when's date today?
Yeah,
when's date today?
totally.
I'll give you one more. And I feel like this one was like a series of events for me. It's like I really like this girl, asked her out on a date, we went on that date, and then we didn't go on another date till maybe like 4 months later. But 4 months later, we were ramping up to like 5 dates. We went on a lot of dates.
Oh,
wow.
okay.
It got to the point where we went to our favorite amusement park
Oh.
wearing matching outfits.
Oh, this is
Oh.
serious.
This is that. This
It
is
was a
thank
wedding.
you, thank you so much. It was a wedding. We get all the way to the wedding, but we wear these matching outfits. And on the day that we did the matching outfits, she invited her male best friend in the middle of the date with us. This male best friend's hanging with us while we're wearing our matching outfits.
That is crazy.
That's so
The vibe went south really
South.
So
quick,
fast.
really south.
Was the male friend interested in her too?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, God.
But again, like my
That's-
naivete said, "Oh, these are
Yeah.
this is just her best friend."
Yeah, sure.
Turns out we were both in a way being played, in that sense. Because in that
Oh.
night, she
I
like
kind of
texted
like
me.
her now.
Oh my gosh! Like in
She's
hindsight,
cunning.
I was just like
She's crafty.
the craftiness, right? The
Yeah.
masterminding, and then she hit me with the, oh yeah, like it's under my understanding that you thought we were on dates. I thought these were hangouts.
Oh,
I
no,
don't
it was like your
that
story.
at all.
That's not
That's
true.
the switch
You don't wear
happened.
matching
I don't like
You know,
that
who
at
wears
all.
matching outfits
You
if
don't
we're
wear
just
matching
friendly
outfits
hanging
when you're
out?
just
No.
being friends.
You
Sorry.
know?
Pass.
So it soured literally like 5
Boo.
dates.
Mic down.
Mic down. So it wasn't just one bad date. I was like,
That
it was a whole
is
series of
0
great dates that
points
turned
for
into
Gryffindor.
bad dates. Zero.
Negative 50,
Wait a
actually.
minute. Wait, what's your house?
So I've taken the quiz twice, and
So have I. So have I.
the first time I got Ravenclaw, I think,
Okay.
and I didn't like that, so I did it again, and I manipulated
denied it
the
the
test
first
to get
time.
Gryffindor, and I was like, that feels right.
Listen, you try to do it in good faith and try to not manipulate the test the first time.
What are you?
I started off as a Gryffindor, which I was fine with.
Yeah.
And then I think I lost my password information to the
Yeah.
Pottermore thing.
Yeah.
And then I took it again because they said, oh, you've been gone
It
for a
was
while.
different,
Time
yeah.
to reclaim your house.
Oh,
So
I
I
like that.
took the test, again, not trying to manipulate, and I got Hufflepuff.
Wow.
And I'm happy with Hufflepuff.
That's really cute.
But I always saw myself as a Gryffindor, so now I call
Yeah.
myself a Gryffindpuff.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, a Gryffindpuff. It's a whole new house.
That's a great combo of houses.
That's it, right? What about, have you taken the
I
test?
haven't taken this test. I felt like
You
while
have to
you
take
two
this
were
test.
talking to each other, I was like Ben Affleck in that video where it's like, hello. Hello, friend. The camera's
This is,
slowly
where
pulling away from me.
this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna rewind that. That's what we're gonna zoom
It's
in on
hotter
your face
now.
during this.
Totally.
One. You know what? We're gonna have you take the test. We're gonna talk again.
Okay.
Because like, what do you think? What do you think, Megan? What do you think?
For him?
Yeah.
What am I? A Hufflepuff?
I can see you do exude Hufflepuff vibes, but you're also extremely like smart.
Yeah,
But-
I feel like
You know what? I'm gonna say Slytherin.
Oh, isn't
I-
that bad?
No.
Oh.
No, common
But listen,
misconception.
the
Oh, okay.
Malfoys gave it a bad name.
A lot of people gave it a bad name. The
Okay.
Malfoys, the Crabs, the Goyles,
I
the
know,
Well,
wasn't
sure.
all the villains were part of
all the
Slytherin?
villains,
So,
except for Severus Snape. It's Sirius Black.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, was Sirius Black Slytherin, or was he?
I actually
Gryffindor.
don't know.
I think he was. No, he was Gryffindor. He was supposed to be in Slytherin because his whole family.
I just started reading
Right.
books with my kids, so
Ooh, yeah. So you're in for
we're
a treat.
just getting going here.
Okay, but I say
That's
Slytherin
exciting.
because Slytherin is not just about evil. It's about like cunning and it's about
Yeah.
they're very
Smart.
silver tongued, very
Mhm.
smart. Malfoy was the second smartest under Hermione,
Okay.
and then he turned cold. So
I'll take it.
listen, a lot of my best friends are Slytherins. Okay,
Okay, fine. Done. Slytherin I am.
Slytherin it is. I love how this conversation went to Harry Potter. Like, thank you.
I do
Megan.
tend to do that.
She steered that.
I do like to talk about it. I do.
Hey, if you're talking about it, I'm talking about it. But to wrap it back around, thank you so much for talking to me about the drop. Sorry, this has like been an amazing experience. Just getting to talk to you about
you're
this.
so
And the
wonderful.
light.
Thanks for having us.
I'm gonna shake your hands
Yes,
just like
please.
this. Double shake. And enjoy your first Comic-Con. Welcome to
Thank
your
you.
Comic-Con.
I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited too.
Go walk the floor. Hide your face when you do it.
Nobody knows who I am.
That's not true.
You don't think no one's watched White Lotus or anything? You're like, come on.
I'm just gonna walk next to her and be like,
You know what? People
I got
will.
my cloak.
What's gonna happen is
My
they'll see your
invisibility
face as you're walking by, and you'll see a lot of people whipping out their phones and just,
amazing.
you know.
When
But
that happens
see
to you,
that.
that must be so fun.
oh, it is. But at the same time, my publicist is right there. He knows it's hard for us to get around.
Yeah,
It
it does
pisses
slow
him
you
off.
down a bit, I guess.
It does, but
You gotta
I like it
start
because I
wearing
can't say
hats
no.
and
I
stuff.
love talking to
You
people.
gotta talk to
Yeah.
everybody.
I have a Black Panther costume that I'm doing. I'm putting that on
Cool.
So.
Amazing.
But to wrap it up, thank you so much, guys, for another episode of Get Wrecked with Straw Hat Goofy. I'm with Megan Fahy and I'm with Christopher Landon. Make sure you guys catch Drop. The trailer's coming out pretty soon. By the time this is uploaded, you probably will have seen the trailer. So let us know what you think down in the comments below, and we will see you when we talk about the next movie.